Hi guys, Billy. This time we're going to be looking at the ZD Toys 1/12 scale Avengers Endgame Hulk. Several people have been messaging me and stuff about the ZD Toys Iron Man, and they've been explaining to me that it's not 1/12, it's more like 1/10 possibly. And I can see where the confusion is with that, because the strange thing is I compared them to Marvel Legends, but there are several Marvel Legends figures in my collection that the ZD Toys Iron Man actually scaled really well with. So that's why I sort of compared it to Marvel Legends a little bit. And interestingly enough, I got this guy because a lot of people have been asking me to do more reviews of ZD Toys figures, especially after the Iron Man review. So yeah, this one's for you guys. I got this guy on AliExpress. It is the official version. It does have the logos, but I think there's some extras in there that don't normally come with the figure. I think the seller I bought it from threw in some extras for me, so God bless him for that. But you can see there's some bits in here that look like it doesn't really actually fit in the box. Looks like they got thrown in. The seal was broken up the top here, and I suspect they've put all these extras in. So you're probably not going to get that with the bog standard figure. And it's quite a large box, to be honest. I mean, it's quite chunky, and I'm not entirely sure if it needed to be this big for this guy, simply because they could have had a flatter box for him, maybe save themselves some packaging, and they certainly would have saved some money on postage. But it's a nice box anyway. On the side here you can see you've got the Endgame Hulk just there. We have all the official Marvel branding with Avengers Endgame there on the side. Then on the side here we have the usual sort of Endgame montage of characters that they actually have on most of the other boxes. Again, on the back, a movie poster with all the warnings and all the official logos. And then on the side we've got Thanos, and I believe they did do a ZD Toys Thanos. I think even Sharpmas Prime reviewed it. So you know, these figures are getting out there. People are starting to take notice of them. And up the top you've got Avengers Endgame logo, and on the bottom it's blank. Excellent. Okay, let's open this up and see exactly what we get. On the quicker side, just as you open it up, you can see it comes in this protective clamshell, and they've taped up the sides here. So if we undo these on the side, I think there's probably going to be one on this side as well. Yeah, definitely. And I think we can just pop this bottom part open. There we go, and it'll be easy to take this guy out. Whoops, and there's also a little twisty sort of tie thing here, so I'm going to have to pull that or break that before I can get him out. Okay, and here he is straight out of the packaging, and there are definitely a few stark differences between this and, say, the Mark 85 Iron Man that we got. Honestly, straight out of the packaging, it feels quite a bit more plastic, and it also feels a little bit more kiddified. I mean, no doubt these ZD Toys are aimed at children anyway, but from what they advertise, it looks like this is going to be a really nice posable articulated collectible that even grown-ups can enjoy. But honestly, it does feel like this is aimed at children specifically, because there is severe lack of articulation in this thing. Not only that, some of the joints leave a little bit more to be desired. The paint app, while good, does feel a little bit more basic. Okay, quickly, let's get articulation out of the way. This guy can move his head left and right, but that's it. There's no up and down or anything, because that ball joint is completely fixed. The bottom of the neck is completely fixed to that upper torso, and there is absolutely no articulation there. And the only articulation you're going to get is from this head port here, and there isn't much of that either. Okay, moving down to the upper torso, this is where the main problem is. Try and bring it forward and it flexes back straight away. Try and bring it back and it flexes forward straight away. It does rock a little bit to the side, left and right, but there isn't much else there. Shoulders and arm wise, you can see that the shoulders go up to about there. You could hear a little click, and that click was because this top upper arm is rubbing right on this. So I expect that paint rub to happen, and you can see I've actually caused a dent in there already just by lifting this arm up to there. And then you come down, you can see there is no bicep swivel here. This doesn't go anywhere. It can go all the way up to about there, but it's quite stiff and it leaves a big ugly gap in the back there. And then double jointed here, but it still only just gets over 90 degrees. I'd like a little bit more articulation than that, and a bicep swivel would have been greatly appreciated. Hand wise, he can swivel about that much and there is no real sort of wrist movement other than that. This small part of the forearm gauntlet does actually hinder articulation, which is a shame. Lower part of the torso here, there is no waist swivel at all. This is all one fixed piece, which is why it feels a little bit more toy-like. But what's so weird about that is there's absolutely no articulation here, but then they give you a leg drop down here so that you can bring the leg out further, which is really, really weird. And you can push it back up to close that joint seam a little bit more. I don't understand why you would go to such great lengths with the legs and just not add any torso articulation. You can even see the line where that torso articulation should be. So they just didn't even put it in. It's really weird. The legs can almost do the splits that way. And they can go back quite far and go forward a reasonable amount. And you can see the knee joint is a double bend in the knee. But once you bend it up like that, the joints separate quite a lot and there is some big ugly gaps. Foot wise, he can turn all the way around if you really want, and there is some ankle pivot. Again, why did you go to such great lengths with certain parts of it and just not go the full hog around here and up here to actually give this guy a bit more articulation? But however, that's just the way it is. And he also comes with 2 extra hands. These ones are more relaxed rather than the fisted hands. Let's pull one of these off and see if it works. Feels really hard to pull this off. Come on. Hang on. I'm going to go get the hairdryer. Okay, and if we warm it up, it does pop off. Let's see if we can get this relaxed hand on there. Challenge accepted. Oh, it's tough though. Come on. Oh, come on. And that was a bit of an effort to get those hands on there, but I have now. I had to use a hairdryer to warm them up. And honestly, if you were getting this for like a kid, it's going to be really hard for him to swap them hands out. I'm sorry guys, I struggled and I'm a fully grown man. So that's a fail as well. However, paint application wise, you can see it's not too bad. The head sculpt is pretty good, I think. I don't think it's the worst head sculpt I've ever seen. Definitely looks like the Hulk. The expression leaves a little bit to be desired. He looks like he's about to fall asleep, like someone's accidentally told him the most boring story ever. Maybe he, you know, heard a story about my average work day and he was like, oh Jesus, kill me. But you can see that the hair is quite neatly painted. They've put some grey streaks in there. It is just like a dry brush on the side though. And then they've painted the eyes in, but they're just 2 black dots. But even the eyebrows seem pretty clean, if I'm honest. They could have been far messier and the eyes could have been even more wonky. But I believe that green plastic leaves a lot to be desired. It does look a little bit like a toy. I think maybe a bit of matte spray would really help that. Bring all that shine off of it a little bit. We can see the paint application on the suit is very nice. They've actually managed to keep the lines straight and not bleed out too much all the way along. Only place I can see some bleed out is just along here, which ain't too bad. It's very faint as well, so you know, from an average distance, not too bad. They've got all this texture in the suit here that looks like it's that sort of lycra stretch fit stuff, which is really cool. We've even got all the details in these lines here. Normally you wouldn't see that, they'd just be like a grey panel. You'd see the sculpt, but you probably wouldn't see some paint in there. And overall, the suit is actually pretty nice, but it is just a shame that they didn't put a bit more effort into the articulation. Basic accessories wise, he just comes as is with the 2 hands. But I think my seller added some extras into the box. I'm not entirely sure why, but he gave me this backpack, which is really quite a cool little backpack. It's really cool fabric. It's got some nice panels in it. It's like a little stretchy band here so it can fit on many things. You could even use this for some 1/6 scale figures, I think, actually, which would be really cool. But you could also use it, you know, as a massive backpack for 1/12 scales, or even 1/10, whatever the frick this scale is, I don't know. But yeah, you can open this up. It's got lycra fasteners, and it's actually able to open up and put things inside. And you could stuff that full of accessories. You could even use this You could even use this guy as like an accessory holder where you put all the accessories for another figure in here and he's just nicely standing there, you know, holding them ready for you to get out and use. He also comes with some extras. He comes with this little glass of beer, which is really cool. They've even put the foam up top. I really like that. It actually does look like a glass of beer, which is quite fun. Comes with a pair of headphones. You're supposed to put them around his neck, but you can also use these for other figures. He comes with a really big sort of green gem, which is I suppose supposed to be the Infinity Stone, I guess, but it is pretty big. And he comes with a small bottle of fizzy pop from a brand. Who knows what brand that is, eh? God knows. But that's pretty cool as well. I'm not sure you can hold all this stuff because I don't think the hands are able to, but we can have a look and see what we can get out of this. Top marks to the seller for putting a bit of creativity into their sale. And here he is just holding the Infinity Stone. He's got the Coca-Cola bottle in his hand, and I've put that backpack on his back. Plus I've also stuffed it with a little bit of tissue to make it look like it's full of stuff. And I've got his headphones just hanging off the back there, because these are, while they're 1/12 scale, he's a little bit bigger, and also he probably wasn't designed for these extra accessories, so the headphones won't fit around his neck. His neck is too thick. But yeah, it's still not too bad. I mean, you could always have them for other figures. There's plenty of Spider-Man figures, Marvel Legends Spider-Man, that could do with a pair of headphones. And there he is, forlornly staring off into the distance, wondering why he never got that rematch with Thanos. But overall, guys, it's okay. I wish I could say, oh my god, this is an amazing Hulk figure. You can pose him, you can do all sorts with him, he'll look fantastic in the collection. But honestly, he is lacking in a few certain areas. Most importantly, the articulation, because if you can't pose Hulk, then something's really wrong, because he is a very expressive physical character, so he needs articulation in his body to look really good. But honestly, I'm really glad that the seller added the extra accessories. They just added a little bit more fun to it. I accidentally already broke this beer mug here. I might try and glue it back together, but the handle fell off. Boo! But I know a certain Asgardian that could really do with a bit of beer. But he does come with an Infinity Gem, which is a really nice touch. And I do like that Coca-Cola bottle. There is a lot of detail in that, which is really nice. But as you can see, I'm gushing more about the accessories that the seller put in than I am the figure itself, because it is really basic. Painted nicely, but really basic. And honestly, if you are a adult collector, you can kind of skip this one. Paint wise, he looks good, but honestly, if you want something a bit more posable, then you're definitely going to be avoiding this guy. And just for giggles, here he is next to the Marvel Legends Endgame Hulk Build-A-Figure, and on the right we can see he's next to the SH Figure Arts Infinity War Hulk. And do you see what I mean about the scale? Everybody keeps saying that, you know, these ZD toys are more in scale with Marvel Select and the like, but as you can see, next to these figures, he's smaller. You'd think he'd be a little bit bigger than these two, seeing as they're supposed to be underscaled. If you can't improve on, say, the Marvel Legends version, then you've done something wrong, because as you can see, the Marvel Legends Hulk has bags more personality. It's just that expression on his face. Yeah, he's got a 5 head, I know, but he's got a much better expression, a little bit more personality. It's quite enjoyable figure to pose. And even the Infinity War SH Figure Arts Hulk, he is a blast to pose around and get loads of action poses out of him. You're not getting anything out of this guy. You can just about bend the arms and knees. It is a bit disappointing. But anyway, if we take these two away, move these down for a second, we're going to put him next to a few more figures and see how he scales with them. And here he is next to Revoltech Gambit, here he is next to Marvel Legends Night Monkey, here he is next to Civil War Marvel Legends Cap, and here he is next to Fig MacGyver. And here he is next to Marvel Legends Thor Dark World, and here he is next to Mezco's Gladiator Thor. And as you can see, I've just put this Civil War cap next to this Dark World Thor from Marvel Legends. They're both Marvel Legends, but unfortunately they're not in the same scale. You can see this Thor is way bigger than this Civil War Cap. It's surprising. Even Marvel Legends don't stick to their scale as religiously as some people think they do. And size-wise, I think the scale of this Endgame Hulk works much better with this Civil War Cap than maybe even the actual Build-A-Figure Endgame Hulk does from Marvel Legends. Unless you're a die-hard, must-collect every Hulk figure there is collector out there, I think you can actually skip the ZD Toys one. There are much better figures out there. Price-wise, it is good. It is really, really good. It's very cheap, but it still leaves a lot to be desired when it comes to articulation. And it really is such a disappointment, because with those paint applications, ZD Toys could be knocking it out of the park. They could put Marvel Legends to shame and Marvel Select if they just added a bit more articulation to their figures. Oh, and I know you think I forgot about the ZD Toys Mark 85, so I have put him next to him very quickly to show you. Paint wise, the Mark 85 is phenomenal. It still has a slight hindrance in articulation, very much like this guy, and I honestly think if they just up that sort of level of joint movement a little bit more, they could in actual fact rival Marvel Legends or even surpass them. Hell, even Marvel Select. Okay guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe, and if you could do me a favor now, if you can get the frick out of my cave, I've got other videos to film. Thanks a lot guys. Bye bye.